Russia now admits it has military personnel in Syria helping transfer weapons to the regime of Bashar al-Assad. But surveillance is picking up new signs of a significant buildup as Russian planes and ships ferry troops and supplies into the middle of a catastrophic civil war involving a brutal regime. Rebels of various persuasions and a ruthless ISIS mini-state also involved. The United States is warning Moscow of a possible confrontation. Let's turn to our Pentagon correspondent, Barbara Starr. She's getting more information. What are you learning, Barbara?
Wolf, look, the U.S. has been surprised by Russia before. Just recall the Russian takeover of Crimea. This time, the Pentagon, the State Department, taking no chances, wanting no surprises. They are urgently trying to figure out how far Moscow will go to protect its interests in Syria. As Vladimir Putin sends more of his military into Syria, Secretary of State John Kerry making a second call to Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, ratcheting up U.S. pressure.
He reiterated our concern about these reports of Russian military activities, or buildup, if you will, in Syria, and made very clear our view that that if true and if borne out, those reports could lead to greater violence.
Russia doesn't appear to be backing down. 2 Russian amphibious ships have unloaded gear. U.S. satellites have seen more than 100 Russian naval infantry troops on the ground, the equivalent of U.S. Marines, and dozens of vehicles. Russia claims it's all aimed at fighting terrorism.
There are Russian military experts in Syria who are instructing the Syrians on the use of military systems being delivered.
The U.S. says Russia is part of the problem, and their support of the Assad regime has fostered the growth of ISIS.
The intent here is unclear about exactly what they're up to and why they're doing it.
The working theories about what Russia may do next: it could attack ISIS positions. But a more likely scenario, Russia attacks Syrian rebels fighting President Bashar al-Assad. That could clear the way for Russia to control what happens if Assad falls. For now, the U.S. is trying to shut down Russian air routes. Initially, the Antonov cargo planes flew from Russia across the Black Sea, Bulgaria and Greece, the Mediterranean, and into Syria. But Bulgaria and Greece will no longer let Russia use their airspace. The new route down the Caspian Sea and across Iran and Iraq into Syria. If Russia begins military operations,
it changes the calculation immensely. It not only would cause potential conflicts in the sky between allied air forces, coalition air forces going after the ISIS targets that are in that area, but it could also risk a confrontation between Russian forces and the coalition forces.
Now, U.S. intelligence satellites are keeping a very sharp eye on Russian airfields and ports, watching carefully to see what the Russians may load up next and ship to Syria. The big concern, Wolf, obviously, is if the Russians move in with fighter jets and begin their own airstrikes. That could provide even more unsettled atmosphere in this region and lead to even more violence. Wolf?
All right, Barbara, thanks very much. Very disturbing report indeed.